What do you think Ratzinger's most controversial opinion is? And maybe it's not actually
Oh,
controversial, but like, what's the one that gets the most heat?
well, I mean, of course, there's the liturgical questions, but also religious freedom is another one. I find that a lot of people really get stumped on his understanding of biblical inerrancy.
Mm,
I think, of course, a lot of people don't understand what he's saying because in the same sentence he'll say both that, of course, there's some errors, and then in
mm-hmm,
another sentence you'll say, well, of course it's all inspired and
mm-hmm,
inerrant. So it's like, well, which
mm-hmm.
one do you mean? Well, he has a
Right.
much deeper understanding of the relationship of history, authorship, and inspiration, right,
Hmm.
that does justice to the church's tradition, but people get stumped on that.
Mm.
So
Yeah, they want it to be like one extreme or the other, like lean towards dictation or like maybe it's not inspired, but there's like a healthy, have
exactly.
a view that it's inspired, but the intent of the
Yeah.
document was not the same level of like historical, I guess, rigor that we would expect today.
Or just to give you a very simple example is the book of the Ecclesiastes, right? The
Mm.
author straight up denies the spiritual nature of the human soul and says that there's
Mm-hmm.
no life after death. Are you going to tell me that's true? Well, if it's
Right.
not true, then is it an error? Well, okay, but if it's an error, why was it included in the canon? There's
Right.
a reason, which makes the reason for it being included a deeper truth. In other words, in a certain sense, it's kind of a question: is everything meaningless? Does
Right.
anything have meaning? And the answer is the rest of the canon, right?
Right.
So again, truth is not just propositions here and there, but is, in a certain sense, it's the synthesis of all propositions in a reality. And so that's
Mm-hmm.
that's kind of his deeper, it's very patristic view of biblical
Very
inerrancy.
Hebraic too. Like that's
Yeah,
way more in line with an Eastern and like Jewish way of thinking, where they're almost geared towards teaching you through getting you to ask the right questions, right? And so the book of
yeah.
Ecclesiastes, in that sense, is almost like trying to prompt deeper questioning within you, as opposed to like giving you a list of dogmas to believe with this exact formula, right? Which is a very Western kind of
Yeah.
way of thinking. So, but
And
yeah,
propositions are great. In fact, they're
mm-hmm,
very important, but
mm-hmm,
it's like their importance is lost on you if you don't realize that their importance is precisely because of the job they serve to point to something that is beyond mere proposition. Right?
right.
Mystery is never captured in propositions.